if a boy and a girl are standing on the road, if a boy slaps a girl, boy is wrong. If a girl slaps a boy, again boy is wrong. So that example explains that this particular thing is used as a sword on the head.
Educated women, well-learned women saying कि मैं तो घर पे एक भी पैसा खर्च नहीं करूंगी, मैं कोई काम घर का नहीं करूंगी. This is not why my parents have brought me up or educated me for.
51% केस इंडिया में जो रेप के फाइल हो रहे हैं वो ये केसेस हैं जहां पर कंसेंशुअली एक सेक्सुअल एक्ट हुआ और बाद में क्योंकि रिलेशनशिप आगे नहीं बढ़ा उसको रेप का नाम दे दिया गया. और वर्ल्ड में कहीं पे भी ऐसे कंसेंशुअल एक्ट को रेप नहीं कहा जाता. तो आप यहाँ पे यहीं से आप अंदाजा लगा सकते हैं कि इंडिया में जो हमारे लॉज हैं वो कितने लूजली ड्राफ्टेड है, उसमें कितने लूप होल्स हैं.
Why we need to talk about men's right in 21st century? Deepika, I want to start with you.
Okay, thank you so much for having me on your show, and thank you so much for even thinking about talking about International Men's Day, because ज़्यादातर लोगों को पता ही नहीं होता है कि International Men's Day जैसी भी कोई चीज़ होती है. So my acknowledgement to you for doing this. Now, why do we need to talk about men's rights in 21st century? I think we need to talk about men's rights exactly in 21st century because I think we have come to a point where somewhere in zest of equality or somewhere in zest of having equality between men and women, we have overdone our I think zest for rights, overdone our I think entire effort just to fight only for women, and somewhere have forgotten that there is a gender, another gender as well. They are also human beings. They also deserve respect, dignity, and protection of their human dignity, just the way women do. So I think it is actually 21st century when we definitely need to talk about men, because somewhere, in fact, I'll just go back to the headline of my first TEDx talk, which was Men, the Forgotten Gender. And I titled my talk as that because that's exactly what we have done. We have forgotten that there are two genders, there are more genders as well. I would not get into that discussion, but we have forgotten somewhere that there are human beings which are women, there are human beings who are men as well. And I think we really need to protect both of them from abuse, from any kind of violence, from any kind of indignity, and respect rights of everyone, because that's what our constitution says.
Yes. So with this gender thing and gender equality thing, I want to come to Mr. Amit also. If we talk about gender equality, Amit, what do you think about it?
Mahima, see, gender equality in today's times has become a one-way street, and it cannot be a one-way street. When we talk about the Constitution of India, the Constitution of India provides for equal protection by law to every citizen. So it talks about every citizen. It doesn't talk about protection to whether it is for women, whether it is for men. It is for every citizen. So the makers of the Constitution wanted that every citizen should be treated equally when it comes to protection by law. Article 15 also says that there should be no discrimination on the basis of caste, creed, and gender. So when we talk about men's rights, people think that we are asking for something bizarre or we are asking for something which is unconstitutional. We are actually in tandem with the equality in real terms. What we are asking are the basic human rights, basic fundamental rights that the Constitution provides. What we are asking is equal protection by law. What we are asking is that there should not be any discrimination because it's a man. For example, when we talk about equality, we talk about crime against women. We have a number of laws to protect crime against women, but there is also crime against men. For example, I'll give you a couple of examples. Domestic Violence Act in India. Domestic Violence Act is only to protect the woman, and everybody knows, and even in Western countries, when we give examples of Western countries, Domestic Violence Act or Partnership Violence Act, they are gender neutral acts. Even a man, if he's a victim, he can reach out to a police station, he can reach out to the court, he gets equal protection. Spousal cruelty in India, it's only the woman who can take protection under that. Sexual crimes, sexual crimes, whether it is rape, molestation, outraging the modesty, all these laws are only to protect women, whereas even a man can be a victim of all these crimes. So we talk about equality, but when it comes to actually implementing it, by ways of enacting laws and policies, we as a country are completely biased and we are completely against men getting the same equality under law that women are getting. So equality is not equality in books, and equality in real world is way different in India.
Exactly. The word you're talking about when you're talking about gender equality and the being a victim, man being a victim of the case. So here I want to ask Mr. Ashish ji, sir, when we talk about man being victim, so what goes into his mind? Because in our society, it's a patriarchal society. So,
Well, I believe the era we are going through. Thank you for asking this question, but this is quite a relative thing that in this particular era, the word feminism has a different definition. It's a relative definition now. It's being used. It will be. I mean, by a bit blunt. If I say just the way one takes religion, religion has been modified, toda moroda, as per their own convenience. The same way feminism used, misused, overused, underused in a different way. So is patriarchy. Patriarchy is, in a bigger term, it is, yes, it's a patriarchal society. But yes, I give a very done-to-death example every time I am there to present Men Welfare Trust or anyone else, that if a boy and a girl are standing on road, if a boy slaps a girl, boy is wrong. If a girl slaps a boy, again, boy is wrong. So that example explains that this particular thing is used as a sword on the head, right? And how we take it, there's a kind of a fear factor that how and what all sections. I'm not aware with all the legal sections that Amit has been sharing about, but a person is already in a fear factor that even if he says that I'm true, I'm fine, I did nothing wrong, but how these acts have been misused or things go wrong, there's a fear factor, constant fear factor in the men's mind.
Exactly.
At that moment.
So you being specialist of stress management, you have talked to many men and have talk about their issues also. What you have seen, what was your experience? Kindly share that. Like how they are taking it as, like, is it going anti-feminism? Like, okay, this is a feminist thing. We are talking about men's rights, so it's men's right versus feminism. Is it becoming that?
Let's not put it in a competition, but yes, the way things are taken as are dead end roads.
Okay.
I mean, there's no leading to anywhere about things. They come up with questions where we have to just at times answer in the way that let's compromise and let's focus on to yourself. You have to be convincing to yourself that what you are doing is right or wrong. Right? I have come across cases where a person has been fighting for the custody of a child,
yes,
who has been taken away with the wife. The wife has left the husband, and the child was 2 months old.
Okay.
And now the child must have been 9-year-old, approximately 9-year-old. So at times it's better to say, okay, let's give up, because 9 years of whatever inputs have been given, so it's not going to yield anything. And in all this journey, what a man loses is his own personal confidence, self-respect, and hope towards life, and basically his efficiency. Whatever profession the person is into, that the person loses that. He is unable to put the 100% of his integrity and efficiency into the job. There's a financial strain, there's a legal strain, there's a taboo on his forehead that he is being labeled as some a domestic abuser or something like that. But that time, my intention with the person who is there is to at least make him stand straight and make the person feel that you have to introspect about things and modify your coping mechanisms not because see what exactly stress is.
Hmm.
Stress forces us to see things in a certain way only. Stress reduces the horizon of our vision.
Hmm.
It forces you to see this is the only way out.
Hmm.
And at times that way out is a very dangerous way out. Because of that, there's a huge mammoth number of people who
Exactly.
commit suicide also.
Exactly.
So at
Exactly.
that time, so that is very, very dangerous. And we need to really make them aware of what exactly is there. We have to create a mind map.
Hmm.
Who is getting affected by you and by whom are you getting affected? We have to equate a balance among that.
So I'll come back to Deepika here also. Deepika, you being a girl, being a woman, and talking about men's right. So there is a question that I same asked to Ashish ji also, that is there a competition between being a feminist and talking about men's right? Is there competition going on? If you're talking about feminism, you can't talk about men's right. If you're talking about men's right, you can't talk about feminism.
So, Mahima, I'll tell you something. In fact, I'll start answer to your question by just a message that came to me today morning, and I just responded to that. So, there's a woman who's saying that she's going under separation from her husband, and she wants to seek my advice because she thinks that I'm going to give her a rational advice. So, I have helped a lot of women. I responded to her and I told her that you can talk to a friend of mine. A lot of women also get in touch with me. So there's a very, very dear friend of mine. She's like Mr. Ashish said, emotional dustbin. So although we are not experts, but we can give a listening ear because that friend of mine has also gone through a lot in her life. She knows everything pretty well. So I tend to ask women who come to me to just have a word with her because she knows the harmful effect of, just going into false litigation and just getting back at each other with revengeful mode and things like that. If there are more people who are rational and equal, a lot of these conflicts can actually be taken care. Coming back to your question, I don't think so there is any competition. It is just sad that a lot of feminists, when they talk to women, the kind of counseling or the kind of guidance that is going out from feminist quarters is very, very biased. It tends to make this a competition between men and women when there is no competition. As men and women, we are complementary to each other. There are a lot of things that I cannot do. I'm sure there are a lot of things any man who would be with me, he cannot do. Whenever there's a couple together or whenever we are in a relationship, or otherwise, just why talk about relationship, even in just a regular household, there are a lot of things that I can do which my brother cannot do. There are a lot of things that I completely rely on my brother on because he is good at it. He can get the things done, in a better way than me. So there are some areas in which he has expertise. There's some areas in which women have expertise. There are some areas in which men have expertise. So I don't think so it's a competition. As long as we can take care of each other, we can be respectful to each other, we can recognize each other's strengths and weaknesses. मुझे नहीं लगता कोई competition है, and it's a very, very damaging path if you start competing कि तुम्हारे पास ये है तो मेरे पास exactly ये होना चाहिए. And the worst thing which is happening right now, Mahima, is that I often say it, women want to have their cake and eat it too. They just want to have every kind of right, kind of right available, but they're not willing to put in the efforts in order to make the other person feel that okay, I have also contributed something. To just give you an example, there are a lot of women in the matrimonial disputes that we get, educated women, well-learned women saying कि मैं तो घर पे एक भी पैसा खर्च नहीं करूंगी, मैं कोई काम घर का नहीं करूंगी. This is not why my parents have brought me up or educated me for. What are you going to do then? Just sit there and do whatever you wish to do without being, responsible for the family that you're in.
Responsibility. I think, right. Feminism is like you are talking about rights, but you have somewhere forgotten your duties. Are we saying that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. At least from all the things that I'm seeing happening around me, they have definitely forgotten. Or एक और चीज, when you actually started in the beginning and we were just having a conversation, all those things that we used to condemn men for, and all the things that actually feminists condemn men for, rash behavior, abusive behavior, domination, disrespecting, violence, or thinking that the other gender is inferior to us. Women are doing all of this, and how?
Yeah.
They are dominating, they are rash, they are rude, they abuse, they disrespect, and then they expect that the other person needs to treat them well. Why? Because they are women, you
Women.
know. So this whole women card is being used left, right, and center, and it's just very sad. Women say it outrightly कि मैं तो तेरे ऊपर केस कर दूंगी और तू मेरा कुछ नहीं बिगाड़ सकता है.
Exactly.
That's the problem.
That's the problem. So,
Yeah.
cases, thank you, Deepika, for this input. I'll come back to Mr. Amit. Amit, you were talking about many cases that were pro women and, brought up to talk about women empowerment, जो भी उनके साथ, चाहे डोमेस्टिक अब्यूज की बात करें, चाहे डॉरी केसेस की बात करें, लेकिन क्या उन लॉस में कुछ लूप होल्स हैं जो कि अगेंस्ट मेन यूज हो रहे हैं, जो फेक केसेस हम देख रहे हैं कि वो नंबर डे बाय डे बढ़ते जा रहे हैं?
Absolutely, Mahima. जो फेक केसेस की बात हो रही है, that's become a everyday phenomena these days. When it comes to matrimonial disputes, अगर matrimonial disputes की बात करें तो जब भी कोई मैरिज ऐसी सिचुएशन पे पहुंच जाती है जहां पर हस्बैंड एंड वाइफ आपस में रिजॉल्व नहीं कर सकते एंड द मैटर गोज टू अ पुलिस स्टेशन और अ CAW सेल, वहां पे कहानी बिल्कुल ही कंप्लीटली अपसाइड डाउन हो जाती है, बिकॉज हमारे कानून ऐसे बने हुए महिमा जहां पर द टेस्टिमनी ऑफ द वुमन is taken as a prima facie evidence. If she is saying that she has been abused by the husband and the in-laws, then she has been abused. उसी basis पे without any much of investigation एक FIR या एक कंप्लेंट ले ली जाती है. आज भी हालांकि सुप्रीम कोर्ट की बहुत सारी जजमेंट्स हैं जहां पर ये कहा गया है कि मिसयूज ऑफ 498A इज लीगल टेररिज्म या बहुत ज्यादा मिसयूज हो रहा है या फिर अरेस्ट गाइडलाइंस बनाई हैं. आज भी अगर हम मेट्रो सिटीज को छोड़ दें तो 1.5 लाख के आसपास 498A में अरेस्टिंग होती है, जहां पर हस्बैंड की मदर्स, हस्बैंड की सिस्टर्स, हस्बैंड के ओल्ड एज ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स, छोटे छोटे बच्चों को आज भी अरेस्ट कर लिया जाता है 498A में. और 95% ऑफ देम बाद में पाया जाता है कि इट वाज अ फॉल्स अरेस्ट, इट वाज दे वर इनोसेंट एंड उनके ऊपर कोई केस साबित नहीं होता. तो आप ये देखिए कि जो ये पावर ऑफ अरेस्ट का मिसयूज है, जैसे आप लूप होल्स की बात कर रहे हैं, पावर ऑफ अरेस्ट इज मिसयूज्ड लेफ्ट, राइट एंड सेंटर, एंड नॉट जस्ट इन the domestic violence cases and the matrimonial cases. You look at the rape laws, the way rape laws are being blatantly misused, after the amendments in 2013, wherein a testimony of the woman is, if it is consistent, is enough to convict a man. हमने बहुत सारे केसेस देखे हैं हमारे आज के टाइम पे. रिलेशनशिप्स, बहुत तरह के रिलेशनशिप्स है. लिव इन रिलेशनशिप्स में 4-4, 5-5, 6-6 साल की लिव इन रिलेशनशिप जब बाद में ब्रेकअप होता है तो लड़की जाके बोलती है कि मेरे साथ रेप किया गया ऑन द प्रिटेक्स्ट ऑफ मैरिज. और ऐसे बहुत सारे केसेस हैं जहाँ पर
I was not able to get a definition of this thing that rape किया गया in the pretext of marriage.
So rape law में जो प्रावधान है महिमा, उसमें एक है उसमें कंसेंट की बात होती है. तो कंसेंट में की बहुत सारे सिचुएशंस हैं कि किस सिचुएशन में कंसेंट माना जाएगा और किस सिचुएशन में कंसेंट नहीं माना जाएगा. फॉर एग्जांपल इंटॉक्सिकेशन की बात होती है कि अगर कोई इंटॉक्सिकेटेड है, अल्कोहल ली हुई है, तो वो कंसेंट नहीं माना जाएगा. कोई अंडर एज है तो कंसेंट नहीं माना जाएगा. वैसे ही है मिसकंसेप्शन ऑफ फैक्ट. सो ये जो प्रॉमिस ऑफ मैरिज है, ये मिसकंसेप्शन ऑफ फैक्ट के अंदर आता है, जहां पर महिला जाके ये बोलती है एक कंसेंशुअल रिलेशनशिप के बाद, एक आपसी रजामंदी से बनी हुई रिलेशनशिप के बाद, काफी समय के बाद भी, क्योंकि हमारे कानून में कोई लिमिटेशन नहीं है, कोई भी महिला जाके 2 साल, 5 साल, 10 साल, 20 साल के बाद भी जाके कह सकते हैं कि 10 साल पहले ये जो एक्ट हुआ था, इट वाज नॉट कंसेंशुअल, क्योंकि मुझे ये कहा गया था कि शादी होगी, और क्योंकि शादी नहीं हुई तो ये एक फॉल्स प्रॉमिस था और मैंने इस फॉल्स प्रॉमिस के प्रिटेक्स्ट पे अपना कंसेंट दिया था, तो टेक्निकली इसको रेप माना जाएगा. और जैसे ये कहा जाता है, एक FIR हो जाती है और FIR के बेसिस पे अरेस्ट हो जाता है. हस्बैंड जो जिसके ऊपर कंप्लेंट की गई है, जो लड़का है, पार्टनर है, he will go behind bars, he will lose his job, he will lose his money, he will lose his self-esteem. 51% केस इंडिया में जो रेप के फाइल हो रहे हैं वो ये केसेस हैं जहां पर कंसेंशुअली एक सेक्सुअल एक्ट हुआ और बाद में क्योंकि रिलेशनशिप आगे नहीं बढ़ा उसको रेप का नाम दे दिया गया, और वर्ल्ड में कहीं पे भी ऐसे कंसेंशुअल एक्ट को रेप नहीं कहा जाता। तो आप यहाँ पे यहीं से आप अंदाजा लगा सकते हैं कि इंडिया में जो हमारे लॉज हैं वो कितने लूजली ड्राफ्टेड है, उसमें कितने लूप होल्स हैं कि आदमी के अगेंस्ट उनको यूज किया जा सकता है, एक आदमी को डिस्ट्रॉय करने के लिए, उसके साथ ब्लैकमेल करने के लिए, वेंजेंस सेटिस्फाई करने के लिए। आजकल रेप लॉज का मिसयूज हो रहा है प्रॉपर्टीज ग्रैब करने के लिए। मतलब सभी देख रहे हैं ये सब चीज होते हुए, लेकिन इसके ऊपर कोई भी स्टेप्स नहीं उठाए जा रहे हैं। एंड जो हमारा यूथ है वो डरा हुआ है। आदमी की अगर आप बात करते हैं, आदमी को लगता है कि अभी आप बात कर रहे थे कि मेंस राइट्स वर्सेस वुमेन्स राइट। अगर एक वुमन, देखिए विक्टिम कोई भी हो सकता है महिमा, एक आदमी भी विक्टिम हो सकता है, एक औरत भी विक्टिम हो सकती है ऑफ अ क्राइम, ऑफ ऑल ऑफ द सिचुएशन दैट वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट। लेकिन एक महिला जब विक्टिम होती है तो हमारा पूरा समाज उसके साथ खड़ा होता है, हमारे पूरे कानून उसके लिए बने गए हैं। हर डिस्ट्रिक्ट में हमारे पास वुमेन सेल है, महिला थाने हैं, नेशनल कमीशन ऑफ वुमेन है, स्टेट कमीशन है, एक पूरी मिनिस्ट्री है। जब एक आदमी विक्टिम होता है, आदमी के साथ गलत होता है, चाहे वो उसके पास फॉल्स केस हुआ हो या एक आदमी विक्टिम हो सेक्सुअल क्राइम का,
there is no institution to talk about that.
There is no law for him. First of all, he cannot reach out to a police station, he cannot go to a court that मेरे साथ domestic violence हुआ है या spousal cruelty हुई है या sexual violence हुआ है। कोई समाज समाज उस पे हंसता है, people laugh at him, media does not support him, there is media trial against him. So ऐसी सिचुएशन में जो हम बात कर रहे थे, जो मेंटल इश्यूज की आप बात कर रहे थे, ऐसी सिचुएशन में हम देख रहे हैं कि बहुत सारे आदमी सुसाइड कर रहे हैं। हमारे देश में 1,18,000 आदमियों के सुसाइड हर साल हो रहे हैं। Every 5 minutes there is a man who dies by suicide. This is a very serious thing to talk about, और इसके ऊपर कोई बातचीत नहीं है, कोई डायलॉग नहीं है। जो सुसाइड्स हो रहे हैं वो भी जो है 25 से 35 साल की उम्र के जो आदमी हैं, जो उनके सुसाइड्स हो रहे हैं।
Yes.
और हम लोग हमेशा ट्विटर पे, सोशल मीडिया पे ऐसे केसेस लेकर आते हैं जहां पर आदमियों ने सुसाइड कर लिया, पूरी फैमिली ने सुसाइड कर दिया जब उनके ऊपर फॉल्स केस हुआ। ये टाइम है, अगर हम इक्वालिटी की बात करें तो इक्वल ट्रीटमेंट की बात होनी चाहिए। सबके लिए इक्वालिटी तभी आएगी जब आप आदमी हो चाहे औरत हो, उनको इक्वली equal hearing दें।
Basically when institutions are
when we as a society start treating them equally, हमें अपने घर से शुरू करना पड़ेगा।
So I think laws जो बने हैं महिलाओं के लिए, बेसिकली जो हम कहते हैं कि महिलाओं के लिए इस तरह के लॉज बने हैं, उसको जब हम सिस्टम जब उसको ट्रीट कर रहा है, उन लॉज को या किसी भी केस को ट्रीट कर रहा है, तो उस टाइम पे कहीं ना कहीं जो लूप होल्स हैं उसको हटा के, और जो दोनों जेंडर हैं उनको एज अ इक्वल इक्वालिटी उस टाइम रखनी पड़ेगी इन केसेस को सॉल्व करते हुए। तभी लगता है मुझे कहीं जाके वो
कानून बनाते वक्त ही इक्वालिटी लानी पड़ेगी। कानून इक्वल होने चाहिए, जेंडर न्यूट्रल होने चाहिए। हम लोग शुरू से कहते आ रहे हैं कानून में मैन और वुमेन की जगह पर्सन यूज होना चाहिए, हस्बैंड और वाइफ की जगह स्पाउस यूज होना चाहिए। चाहे हस्बैंड ने गलत किया हो, चाहे वाइफ ने गलत किया हो, चाहे आदमी ने गलत किया हो, चाहे औरत ने गलत किया हो, क्राइम तो क्राइम है। और जो फॉल्स केस कर रहा है आप उसके ऊपर कोई स्ट्रॉन्ग कोई डेटरेंट लेकर आइए कि हाँ अगर फॉल्स केस कोई करता है तो उसको भी सजा मिलेगी। दूसरी कंट्रीज में ऐसा होता है, हमारे देश में क्यों नहीं हो सकता?
I'll just very quickly tell you 2 bizarre cases which will just sum up how ridiculous it has become. There's a woman in Delhi who is 34-year-old PhD professor who started having sex with her 18-and-a-half-year-old student who is a boy. And after 1.5 years of having an affair with him, she has now charged him with rape on false promise of marriage.
Yeah.
She is herself married and separated from her husband. Imagine the FIR was registered. This boy and his entire family had to run for bail. They went up till the High Court, and it's Delhi High Court which granted bail to this boy. He will still have to undergo all of this process. And just today, there's a woman from Kaithal, Haryana, who has filed rape case on the man that she was in live-in relationship with. She's already married, but she says for the last 11 years, this man was raping her on false promise of marriage, and she has filed FIR against 17 people. 17. Now, even if these cases are proven to be false tomorrow, these women will not be punished, and that's the problem.
That's the problem.
Big
I think we will be getting some amendments in the laws sooner
Hope
if
so.
we will address, this kind of situations. Young men are going around, and I will end this whole meet and discussion on this point. Thank you everyone for joining me.
लॉ स्ट्रीट भारत, राष्ट्र के हित में।